Hi and welcome back. I wanted to really address today, look with you at some things that teachers want to discuss with me a lot. Is how does something like the fascial dog exercise relate to all of the other things that we do, Pilates, yoga, that sort of thing. And it brings up a great discussion because the beauty of this flow, the Fascial Dog Flow that you'll see on our video web blog, is adapted from the Sun Salutation series in yoga. And the brilliance of it, and the way that I've broken it down into phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, has us really look from a place of what is extended flexion, what is extension, what is rotation, what is moving from core coordination, and how does that feed everything that we do. But also how does that, and this is what I really learned in studying with Hubert Godard, who was one of my mentors, is how does that way of being with a vestibular way of setting ourselves up, the two directions of the spine that empowers my movement. You see how the spine elongating is moving my feet somewhere. How does that opening of my hands and opening my feet allow me to find a deeper release of my spine? So this is phase 1. Allow the inhale, and as I exhale, feel the waterfall of the shoulder blades down my back, keeping the heels down. And how does the lift of the deep belly and the drop of the shoulder give me a natural hover, long flexion? Allow the inhale here, and then feel the waterfall of the shoulder blades down. Now if I lift my heels really high, that's going to lock out my knees and my calves. But when I release the heel down, that gives me the down the back, that wakes up my low belly lift, and that brings me forward from a lengthened place, lengthening my neck out of my feet. Allow the inhale here, exhale, and as my tail releases back, I have a new sense of extension and feeling through my spine and a deeper connection of my arms to my spine. Allow the inhale, exhale. Now someone asked me just recently online, what's a free sacrum? Or how can you keep your sacrum free as you straighten your legs? What does that mean? Well, this feeling of being able to straighten your legs and move your tail. So I'm just feeling my feet, and as I feel my feet, my tail is floating. That's my sacrum, my tail moving my pelvis. So when I round my tail, I'm not gripping my belly. I'm just feeling my feet, feeling my shoulder blades down, and that is naturally rounding my spine. It's an amazing feeling of just feeling your whole body connected from hand to foot, head to foot, and then come forward. And now here's phase 2. Instead of going back, this time I look forward and my hips come toward my hands. That allows me to feel full extension. Hips come forward. Can you reach your heels back as your hips stay forward? You'll see as you play with this, that's a free pelvis once again. When my pelvis can stay forward and my heels can release back. That's a free sacrum. And use your exhale. And sitting down. So that's phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 3, playing with rotation. How is my hip staying open as I come forward? How is that allowing the lift to happen? And then I go forward in my front of my spine and reach back. So that's how you stay on the wall, because most people start falling down the wall, but you get glued to the wall. Feel your head go one way, your tail goes the other way. Those are the two directions of the spine, and it's that moves me, that keeps me connected to the wall. I'm going in two directions. Instead of just taking your arm up, feel the release of your spine. Opening, opening, opening. And then you feel connection from the shoulder blade to your deep belly to this leg and arm. And then you can feel this arm is now connected to the down. And it just floats freely and feels incredible. It's fascially supported. You can feel how the story that I told a couple of weeks ago about my arm not working and having difficulty with it, you see how it's just completely reconnected. How do we unravel history? How do we self-heal? Same thing in the other direction. So the down lifts my arm. And coming up, and I do the other side. Go forward to reach back, open out. See how the opening of this side asks this leg to work harder. How does the rotation happen through my spine? How does that move my arm? Tensegrity, opening. And down. Opening, reaching through the wall. Feeling core coordination. And coming back. Everything open. So how do I apply that sense of opening to a familiar movement on the wall? See, rather than, we so tend to compartmentalize things. That was the fascial dog. Now this is going to be arch and curl to bridge. But really what we're studying, and what the teachers and I, as we're exploring biointelligence, what we're looking at is the body does not care. Our body does not care what we call what we're doing. What it wants is movement. So it doesn't call that fascial dog. We call it fascial dog in order to make that distinct in our minds. Body doesn't care what we're calling it. So this, even though my legs are bent and feet on the wall, this feels like the fascial dog. How do you know how far to be away from the wall? See, usually there are these rules of, well, my knees should be directly under my hips, directly over my hips. Why? What I find is when I press very gently into the wall, I want to sense my shoulder blade, sit bone, tailbone into the tripod of the foot. I want to also, when I lift my toes, that ignites the lift up the front, inner ankle to inner ear. I want to feel that. I want to feel connected from my foot to my head, not just dropping into my hip sockets, as we often talk about, feeling this just anchored. What's the lift? How does the back of the leg relate to the front of the spine? How does that allow a free movement of my sacrum? I'm just gently pressing into the wall, just enough to feel a free movement of my sacrum. Now, I'm not asking my body to lift. I'm just gently pressing into the wall, and it's more and more and more giving me more movement. So I'm getting connected, and I'm feeling naturally supported. You see how this relates to any movement. It's a way of being with ourselves. The back of my arm feels connected to my feet all the way through. The front of my body feels very open, but I'm also deeply connected shoulder blade to belly, which is what we're calling a new powerhouse, rather than pulling the navel to the spine and compressing the abdominals. What that does is lock out the back too and locks the hips. And roll It's really a phenomenal way of being with ourselves. And you can see there was a freedom and a flow of movement. And what do we mean by flow? So the Fascial Dog Flow, when you practice it, and please be in touch to ask questions and discuss things. What are your insights? Because that flow, when you practice it, you will be amazed because you're speaking to the deep intelligence of your body. You're not just doing an exercise. You're being with human movement. How do the legs open? How does the shoulder blade to belly connect? How does the spine lengthen? How do we walk? How do we sit? So we don't often ask these questions. It's not like there's a rule, I should sit this way. What we want to notice is, what is sitting? What is sitting that feels good to my body? What is standing and walking that feels good? How does that change as I get older? How do I respond to that in a way that feeds me and nourishes me? These are huge questions, and they have very little to do with rules. It has everything to do with listening, paying attention, and just really being observant of what we need. And then what happens is, it's amazing. We help ourselves, but also we meet difficulty, we meet discomfort, we meet the things that are going to happen throughout life, and we learn how to be with ourselves in ways that are nurturing and also powerful. So I'd love to hear from you, and thanks for everything. Bye.